What's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, Mr. Duga, coming at y'all with another video, man. And today, man, I'm going to take a look back at last year's season in the AFC South and preview and predict the AFC South going into next season, who I think going to win, finish second, third, fourth, and etc. First, a look back to last season, man. The Houston Texans were the AFC South champs. You know, the Indianapolis Colts came in second. The Tennessee Titans came in third, and the Jacksonville Jaguars was last place. The Houston Texans, man, big time season for them. After an ugly start, man, they started off 0-3, including a loss at home to the Giants, but then reeled off like 9 straight wins in a row. You know, and kind of coasted themselves down the season and ended up winning the division. Unfortunately for them, they met up with their division rival, the Indianapolis Colts, the same team that ended their 9-game win streak. You know, and fell short in the wild card round at home, man. And for the Indianapolis Colts, man, a big time season for them. Shout out to the big homie Frank Wright, man. In his first season as the Indianapolis Colts head coach, you know, they kind of got off to a slow start, man. Then they picked it up and turned it around as Andrew Luck started getting healthier and healthier. And they was able to end up getting one of the wild card spots as they beat the Tennessee Titans basically in week 17, a win and get in scenario. Then not only they do that, they in the wild card round, they go on the road, play their division rival, the Houston Texans, knock them off, you know, get to the second round of the divisional round, but then they fell short, you know, to the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. Then the Tennessee Titans, man, after a fast, unlike the other two teams, they started off kind of fast, man, and then started, you know, then Marcus Mariota got injured and was banged up and stuff like that. And they had a shot with Blaine Gabbert playing quarterback to beat the Indianapolis Colts and make it into the playoffs, but of course they fell short to the Colts. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, it was just a real ugly season for them, man. As, you know, basically it was the end of the Blake Bortles era as he got benched for a couple of games, for a game or two, I want to say. And he was just out there playing terrible, man. Leonard Fournette had a lot of stuff going on. I mean, it was just a forgettable season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, especially a team who've made it to the AFC Championship game the year before and darn near made it to the Super Bowl, man. If they, you know, get a stop here or there or a couple of calls go their way here or there, they could have been playing my Eagles in the Super Bowl instead of the New England Patriots, yo. So it was a very interesting year in the AFC South last year. You had two teams make the playoffs. You know, had a third team, you know, playing the last week of the season for a playoff spot. First off with the Houston Texans this season, man, you know, they got the big time quarterback. I like to call him Big Game Deshaun Watson. You know, I think he's a sensational quarterback. You know, the playoff game wasn't really his best moment, but I feel like that was a valuable experience for him, and he's gonna be better going forward. He gets to throw the ball to arguably the best wide receiver in all of football, in DeAndre Hopkins, who's an absolute dog, who's an absolute beast, who's an absolute stud. You know, you have Will Fuller, who went down last season with an ACL injury, you know, coming back. If he could stay healthy, he's a real legitimate deep threat for that team. And Deshaun, when he's out there with Deshaun Watson, he puts up huge numbers with Deshaun Watson, man. Because Deshaun Watson loves to sling that thing to him down the field. You know, defensively, they got the big homie J.J. Watt. You know, arguably, you could arguably say he a first ballot Hall of Fame already. You know what I'm saying? You got Jadeveon Clowney coming around the corner on the other end, who Houston need to find a way to pay that man, you know, because he's been kind of holding out, you know, for all their team activities, for stuff like that, looking for a new contract. You know, they got McKinney in there, linebacker, who had a really good season last year. And they got a young, untested secondary. Well, they got a guy like Bradley Roby in from Denver who's, you know, had some success in the league, especially, you know, for the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl. But, you know, you lose a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. You know what I'm saying? You use a corner, even though he didn't play much, you use a corner like Kevin Joseph or whatever. I worry about their offensive line, man. I know they drafted a guy in the first round, but I still worry about the Houston Texans offensive line. Deshaun Watson got hit a lot last year, and I think he was the most sacked quarterback in all of football last season, man. And that's not counting the sacks that he escapes from with his mobility. You know what I'm saying? They need a better running game, man. Lamar Miller has kind of been a disappointment for them. You know, Dante Foreman, maybe he could give them the energy they've been looking for because, you know, he basically missed almost all of last season, coming off an Achilles injury from the season before. You know, the wide receiver core, man, is solid if Will Fuller could stay healthy. Obviously, the front seven is pretty solid. I'm a little concerned about their secondary, man. They got some, you know, unproven corners, and, you know, Justin Reed, though he had a really good rookie season last year, he's still a young guy. And there's no veteran like a Tyrann Mathieu on side of him, you know, making plays this season. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts, man, obviously they got off to a slow start last year. Then they picked it up, you know, ended up getting into the playoffs. Shout out to the big homie Frank Reich, man, on getting his team, the Indianapolis Colts, into the playoffs in his first season as a head coach. You know, they got Mr. All Do Everything, Andrew Luck, man. He was healthy down the stretch, yo. They went on the road, got a big-time road win against the Houston Texans in the wild card round, but then the following week in the divisional round, you know, went on the road and fell short to the Kansas City Chiefs, man, a Kansas City Chiefs team that was the #1 seed in the AFC all season. But I like what this team has done, especially in the offseason, man. You know, on the offensive line, they got the big-time role grader, all-pro rookie in Quentin Nelson. You know, there's some other solid pieces along the offensive line. You know, obviously they got Andrew Luck, who is a star in this league, man. His skill-wise is up there with the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, and in the backfield, man, you got Marlon Mack, and you throw in Spencer Ware from the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of people thought they was going to be willing to spend the big money on Le'Veon Bell to bring him in. But what they did is basically they kept their guy Marlon Mack, and they added Spencer Ware to go along with him. You know, that's a solid, decent backfield considering the type of offensive line that they got. You know, the receiving core, they added Devin Funchess from the Kansas City Chiefs to come in and be another big-bodied red zone threat, you know, to take some pressure off of their big-time receiver in T.Y. Hilton, who obviously, as great as a receiver he is, you know, he's kind of miniature in size. So it'll be good to have a receiver on the opposite side that could go up and get the football. You know, Eric Ebron, who basically was a bust in Detroit as a top 10 pick, you know, has revived his career with the Indianapolis Colts as he had a double-digit touchdown season. You know, defensively, they add a guy, a veteran, you know, a former Pro Bowler in Justin Houston. Now, obviously, he's not the player he was a couple of years ago when he was, like, dominating the league. But, you know, he's still a good player, and plus, you know, his veteran presence could weigh off on the younger guys. You know, they got the big homie Darius Leonard at linebacker, you know, after he had a spectacular rookie season, was basically all pro, all world, all galaxy in every category at linebacker. You know, and in the secondary, you got a young, hard-hitting safety like Malik Hooker, man. And you still got the Mr. All-Everything, Adam Vinatieri, still coming back to kick for this team. I really like what the Indianapolis Colts did in the offseason, man. They didn't make no splashy move. They didn't make no big-time free agent moves. But what they did, they made under-the-radar moves that's going to definitely help improve their football team. And at the end of the day, that's what it should be about. Then you look at the Tennessee Titans, man. Marcus Mariota been banged up. Unlike Houston and Indianapolis, they got off to a fast start. And then Marcus Mariota came across his injuries here and there. He's been banged up. Corey Davis has been banged up. And this team basically had a steal. With all that being said, Mariota ended up missing their last game. And they still had a chance. They beat the Indianapolis Colts at home. They make it to the playoffs. But obviously they fell short, man, you know, with having Blaine Gabbert out there. They've added Ryan Tannehill from the Miami Dolphins, who he has a lot of injury questions himself. But nevertheless, he should be at least an okay, solid backup quarterback, better than they've had in the past. You know, they get the big homie tight end Delaney Walker back, who missed almost all of last year, was injured the first game of the season. He's one of the most productive tight ends in all of football. So it's going to be a welcome sign for the Tennessee Titans to get him back. You know, obviously they got Corey Davis coming in, man, who shows a lot of potential and a lot of flash, but he got to consistently put it all together on the field. They've added Adam Humphries from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to run in the slot. You know, they've also drafted a guy in A.J. Green out of Ole Miss, you know, to get some things going for them. And in the secondary, you know, you got a guy like Kevin Byard, who's one of the top people in the league at intercepting the football, man. So, you know, this is an okay Tennessee Titans team, man. Derrick Henry, you know, he got to be more consistent. He was a non-factor for most of the year last year until like the last couple of games when he started looking like Alabama Trent Richardson, especially after he broke that 99-yard touchdown run against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Speaking of, then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who shout out to the big homie Nick Foles, man, on getting an opportunity to you know, make money and to run your own team with no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nick Foles, obviously a Super Bowl champ. He's a leader. He's a competitor. You know, he's going to give the Jaguars all they got. You know, they got a talented running back in Leonard Fournette, man, who's one of the best in the league. If he could just, you know, stay healthy and stay out of trouble, you know, he's a dynamic running back. You know, they struggling a little bit at their receiving core, even though they get a guy like Marquise Lee back, who basically missed all of last season. You know, they kind of a little thin at tight end. The defense is really what's up, is where they bread and butter at, man. You still got a guy like Calais Campbell. You got a guy like Yannick, I can't say his last name, whatever his last, Naganga, whatever his name is. He does his thing. You know, then you added a first-round talent rookie in Josh Allen to come in there and get after the quarterback also. Now, they will have a big loss with Tevin Smith unexpectedly just announcing he won't play football this season. You know, he's one of the best in the game, man, so it's a big loss for them. And obviously, you got your all-world, all-galaxy, all-pro cornerback in Jalen Ramsey, who's out there just straight up locking people down, to go along with A.J. Boye on the other side, yo. As far as my predictions, man, this is a deep division, man. All these teams in this division are pretty solid football teams. But my prediction for the AFC South, man, is I think the Indianapolis Colts will win the AFC South. I just really like the moves they made. They're not no big time over the radar move, but they quiet, productive moves, man. You know, getting a red zone receiver like Devin Funchess. You know, getting a veteran pass rusher like Justin Houston. You know, they've made some really nice under the radar moves, man. My second place team may surprise. I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. I think Nick Foles helps this offense do a little better than it's been doing under Blake Bortles. They still on paper personnel wise have an elite defense. And now as they got a quarterback in that's actually not only a decent, talented quarterback, but he's a leader. I think he's gonna have them guys ready to roll, man. Third place, man, I like the Houston Texans, man. Obviously, I have issues with their offensive line and their running game, but big game Deshaun Watson is that big time, and DeAndre Hopkins is that big time. I don't think they better, you know what I'm saying, than the Indianapolis Colts or Jacksonville Jaguars, but you know, I like Houston. I like Houston to finish third, man. You know, obviously it ain't the division win they had last year, but they gotta get that offensive line, that running game situated for me to want to put them higher, man. And finally, I got the Tennessee Titans finishing last, man. And it's not because I think this is a terrible football team. I just think that this division is that loaded, man. The problem with them is, you know, Marcus Mariota got to stay healthy, yo. You know, he's been banged up, and he's a smaller statue type of guy where he take a big shot, he gonna miss some weeks, yo. So with them, you know, Derrick Henry got to be more consistent. They got some young talent receivers, but they very inexperienced. You know, and defensively, you know, they got Montez Sweat, who gonna be a good player for them going forward, but he can't play this year. You know, he has an ACL injury. You know, and guys like Malcolm Butler and Dory Jackson got to be a little more consistent, man. But this is a very deep division. This is 4 solid teams in this division, man. Once again, I had an Indianapolis Colts winning the division. You know, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing second, the Houston Texans finishing third, and I got the Tennessee Titans finishing last, yo. But with that being said, man, that's all I got for y'all today. Appreciate y'all checking out the video. Go on, give me a subscribe, man. I'm gonna have NFL content, man, throughout the year. Y'all have a blessed one. Fly, Eagles, fly.